Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Amber from Amber's Books and More, and today I have a top 5 Wednesday or Thursday. It's supposed to be top 5 Wednesday. I know today is Thursday, and I'm sorry. I've been sick and trying to get over a cold, and so I'm a little late on my schedule this week. But the topic for this top 5 Wednesday are your top 5 favorite angsty romances. And so I love a good angsty romance, and at first I wasn't going to do this one because I thought, aren't they all angsty? But then as I started reading more about it and reading other people's responses, I was like, no, they're not. And so let me just go ahead and give my top 5 favorite angsty. So one disclaimer to this video is that while I won't be giving away spoilers to any of the plots of the books, some people do consider romances and OTPs and those sort of things to be kind of spoilery for these. So if you don't like that, I'm sorry. But I will be talking about a few of the romances that are in the books, and maybe even there's one that technically didn't happen in the book that I wished would have happened. So yeah, if you don't like any kind of spoilers, then this may not be the video for you, but otherwise there are going to be a few spoilers. And technically I'm cheating because I have more than 5, but you will see why. So the first one I'm going to talk about would normally be number 5, but instead of saying number 5, I'm actually going to say that this is an honorable mention, and this is the Vampire Academy books. Now I've only read the first and second book. So the couple that I'm going to mention for this one is Rose and Dimitri. They're very not supposed to be together, will they, won't they kind of romance, and I really enjoy it. Here's the book if you can't see. And so this one has an honorable mention. I know a lot of people don't like these books, but I've only read the first 2, and I did enjoy the first 2, so eventually I think I will continue on with the series. But I do love Rose and Dimitri's kind of hot-cold relationship. Okay, so my next one, which is actually number 5, is More Than This by Patrick Ness. And this one, it is the romantic relationship between Seth and Gudmund. They have a very angsty, kind of nobody knows about it, secrets kind of relationship, and it's so very angsty because they're afraid to let people know that they are gay. And I think it is beautifully written, and this was a beautifully written book, and I gave it 5 stars on GoodReads, and I definitely think that you should check this out. The romance in it isn't a huge part of the book, but it is a very beautiful part of the book, and I definitely recommend this one. So for my number 4 pick, I am going to go with A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Now, please note, I have not read the next book in the series, which is A Court of Mist and Fury, which is the second book, because it is quite large, and I found out recently that there was going to be a new tome topple coming up soon, so I want to save it for that since it is over 500 pages and it is part of a series. So just in this book alone, before I even kind of saw some of the fan art about Feyre and Rhys, I shipped them as a couple because I thought that her and Rhys had much more chemistry, and the angstiness of kind of hate first kind of turns to attraction and so on and so forth. And I do hear that that there is more of that type of relationship in the next book, but I haven't gotten to it yet, so please don't give me any spoilers. But yeah, I enjoyed the hate and then the attraction that happened between Feyre and Rhys in this book. Okay, so for my number 3 pick, I'm going to go with the Passenger duology. So I'm just showing you Passenger, but it does actually go for both books. Wayfarer is the second book, and I really love the angstiness of not only Etta and Nicholas, but there's also another side romance that I don't want to give away spoilers to that I really did enjoy. And you never really actually see it come to fruition. It's kind of noted at that it could happen. So I really enjoyed both Etta and Nicholas because they kind of had not really a hate turn to attraction. They both kind of had an attraction from the beginning, but it wasn't really something that could happen for them. And so there was a will they, won't they, and then they're separated for most of the second book, and them trying to get back to each other was very angsty, and I really enjoyed this duology. So definitely check out this if you like those type of angsty romances. Okay, so for my number 2 pick is actually every effing couple in A Conjuring of Lights. V.E. Schwab writes couples and relationships so well. So not only Kel and Lila, which I love them together, but also Alucard and Rye, but also Alucard not Alucard, I'm sorry, but also Rye and Holland. Even though that's not a couple in this book, there was some flirtation, and I enjoyed it, and I thought, ooh, yes, I would love to see them together, because he's the bad boy and the other one is the golden prince, and so I really wanted to see that happen, and unfortunately it did not. And you know, there was actually a relationship involving Holland that you get to see in this book that I won't spoil, but it was also very heartbreaking and touching, and I really enjoyed that. But I kind of want to just live all together with all these characters and just watch their relationships. But every single relationship in this series is done perfectly. It doesn't, there's so little of it that it made me anxious to get to when are they gonna finally get together, and so that's is my angst in these. So this angsty romance was phenomenal. Okay, so my number one pick is actually two books, because it is a series, but each book has a different couple in it, and I love both of them very equally. So the first one being Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. So this one has Ezra and Katie, and I really loved their angsty romance because they broke up right basically prior to the beginning of this novel. Like the day of beginning of this novel, they had broken up, and it was kind of a will they won't they get back together. And when you finally get to a conclusion, it is very warming and touching, and I really loved their relationship. But then also you have to talk about Gemina, and Gemina had Nick and Hannah, and I loved them as a couple equally as well, because they started off as the enemies. You hated each other, then the attraction, and then the love, and so this was very angsty. So they were angsty in a different way, but yet they were both perfectly angsty. I loved it so very much. So definitely these two, this whole series together is very angsty romancy, and yet it's not romancy because it is sci-fi and it is told, you know, in mixed media, which I've talked about before on my channel. But I cannot wait for the third one to see what next romance I'm going to get, because it is just perfect. Okay? Perfect. If you haven't read these, please read them. If you don't think you could get used to the mixed media, I suggest maybe downloading some kind of app that'll let you listen to audiobooks, because I've heard that the audiobooks of these are phenomenal, and maybe it will help you get into the story if you can hear all the special effects. They have multiple actors. I've heard it's great. So definitely these together are my number one pick for top 5 angsty romances. Alright, so that's all I have for you. That was my top 5 Wednesday. Thursday, little, you know, asterisk up there. But I'm sorry that this is out late, and I'm sorry this whole week has been late. I meant to get my video up yesterday on Monday, and I didn't have this one done and edited in time. I won't have this done and edited in time for Wednesday, so this will be coming up on Thursday. And yeah, so let me know, what are your top 5 favorite angsty romances? If you have a video with this, let me know. If you have a blog post with this, let me know. I definitely want to read more about these top 5 Wednesdays. So yeah, leave me a comment, like this video, check out my social media, all the hoo-ha, all the jazz. I've left the GoodReads group down below for top 5 Wednesdays, so definitely check that out. Check me out on GoodReads. All the bit you're supposed to put at the end. But other than that, have a great day wherever you are. I love you. Bye.